Remember, please hit like and subscribe for me. Thank you so much. Okay, let's go. Hi everyone, my name is Anne-Marie Band. Today is October the 16th. It is a Thursday, and this is the Moneyball Morning Report. We are taking a look at our trend spider charts with some data put up here by Mentor Q. And what we are staring down is the call wall just above us in the E-mini S&P 500 at 6,755. The put wall sits below at 6,650. They have widened these walls a little, but bringing up the put wall just a bit, bringing up the call wall just a bit, bringing down the put wall just a bit. But we do sit inside of a large range. And so this is what we are considering. We are still inside of Friday's candlestick, right? Fourth day sitting inside of this range. Now, granted, it's a pretty big range, right? It is a pretty big range, very expansive motion. But within that, we are also sitting inside of the value area. Value area low, 6,658. Value area high, 6,770. So my suspicion is just like yesterday, the best trades are going to be on the edges as we still sit inside of a large framework. So what are those edges? They are the edges of the regions at the call wall, 6,755, all the way up to 6,770, and the bottom of the put wall, 6650, and value area low at 6656 or so. We do have a few gamma lines, a few blind spots floating around here, but the condition gives us the following. Dips clearly bought. Spikes clearly sold. Big line of old support. Yesterday it tested as resistance. Today it's likely to do the same thing, stretch a bit higher, and then fade. But there's going to be resolution here somewhere, right? Is it going to be down? Is it going to be up? I have no idea. My suspicion, as it continues in this framework, comes from this. Low, higher low, higher low. So we've had the initial low from Friday, the higher low from Tuesday, the higher low from Wednesday. To me, this pushes us back to the main call wall at 6,800. Now, my hope was that we sat in this range and just gave up a little bit of the over-enthusiasm that is sitting inside of some of these very energetic stocks, just so that it feels a little better from a structure perspective. But we're still running, and, macro guys like Darius Dale from 42 Macro really is telling us that we've got a great big upshot. I suspect that's what's going to happen towards the end of the year, but I think we still have some wiggles in this area, though I may be proved wrong. What's the trade? Pullbacks or buy zones. Where are those pullbacks the strongest? I like looking at heavy congestion. 6680. I'm going to wait, see if it comes into that zone. I'm not going to have a limit order there. I'm going to let price action tell me if that limit order is a good limit order, and then I will move into the framework. If not, I'll watch it come down, attack the put wall, and then once it recovers, I will take the long. Why are you going to take the long, Anne-Marie? Because I have higher lows. And this is clearly a flag pattern. Now, some folks are saying, hey, it's a bear flag pattern. I don't know what kind of flag pattern it is. All I know is that I'm caught between resistance and support, so I'm going to watch for the edges to participate. Wow, that was long. It was just too long. Okay, NQs. Same thing. Low, higher low, higher low. Where's the call wall? Wow, this one's interesting. Let me make sure I'm reading this right. Yeah. Okay, so the monthly call wall and the 0 DTE call wall in the NQ are at 25,100. Both of them. That's going to give it a little bit more of an oomph if we pop out of here. So this is the candlestick we are in the midst of working ourselves through. The primary resistance zone that gives us support is still around this 25,150 to 25,250. That's the zone I think is the sweet spot for the shorts. I mentioned that yesterday, but we do have a nice potential introductory short at about 25,150. Okay, that being said, what's trend? 63 flat. VWAP, we're sitting above the VWAP. In terms of the broad motion, sitting in the pocket, 24,800. Then below that, 24,744. And then below that, 24,650. Dips clearly buys in a flag pattern as well, but showing a fair bit of resistance in this pocket. Notice we're caught in this range right here. This is a big sideways range, and really my suspicion is that we stay here into the last week of October, but anything can happen, right? So looking for dips, value area low, 24,500. We haven't seen that zone since Tuesday, right? Value area high, we're dancing at it right now, 25,065 or so, 25,050. I expect sellers to try and come in here. I do. But momentum, as we can see below, is high, especially for pre-market, right? It's fairly high for pre-market. And so there's a fair bit of dip buying. Pre-market overnight, really big. We're up over the 4-hour candlestick of rotation, the big fat round number of 25,000, the anchored VWAP event, and the 0 DTE put wall are sitting in the same place at 24,930. I expect another day in the chum bucket, as it were. Pretty sideways motion. A lot of news going to try and drive the market structure. Okay, let's take a look at gold, our favorite meme stock. This is bananas. So gold, very stubbornly, they have not moved the 0 DTE call wall to the north, right? 4,200 is the big, they actually have moved it just a bit, but not dramatically. They're not expanding dramatically here. So let's see where the put wall for, look at where the put wall for gold is. 3,800. That's $450 away. That's monstrous. The 0 DTE call wall, 4,160. The monthly call wall, 4,200. Well, we're printing 4,258, right? And this 4,000 area, before the resolution, I said, hey, listen, gonna be about 50 points in either direction, and then they're gonna choose. Well, they certainly chose to the upside from that 4,000 level, and then now we're just stair-stepping up into the price action and really expanding. Take a look, last wave, this is the congestion around 4,000. Why I think it's an important wave. And so we have 1x, 1.5x, and I mean in terms of the multiple, right? So it's a 2, and then 2.5, and then 3 puts it at 4,327. 4,250 is that, 4,265 is that key area that we want to watch to see if price action really comes off of that edge. We notice declining momentum. We've had 2 days of motion where we stopped doing all of this, right? Massive volume injections. And now we're just sort of dancing our way up. Nobody normal wants to go long gold here, but the scalp trader can certainly do it. What are the regions that we should see? Right now, 4,240, 4,235 is the call wall. I expect them to push back up here. So if we see a big bounce to the upside, it's going to make for a very nice short. That being said, we're moving cross current, absolutely moving cross current. So you're going to have to be quick. If it does not respond, you've got to get out. And that's the key right there. Again, call wall at 4,200. A lot of people expecting a collapse, but, you know, if we're still in a war cycle, 4,300 is not out of the horizon, and I think we are in a war cycle. But we have to take a breath, I mean, somewhere. And the moving average at 4,170, I wouldn't be surprised if we came back into this 4,160 area, right? But that's $100 away. Okay, that's it. That's it for me, folks. Hoping that all of you have... Oh, no, wait. I forgot. Let's do SPY. Got so excited. My heavens. Forgot one. All right, here we are. Sideways formations. Value area low. As we take a look at SPY, call wall above us, 0 DTE call wall 670. Big call resistance 675. Deep put wall for the weeklies and the monthlies 650. 660 is the 0 DTE put wall, and 670 is the 0 DTE call wall. Both of these are inside of the value area. So they are expecting price compression in here inside of the relative range. Look at the wicks. If this doesn't tell you, hey, I need to sell the spikes and buy the dips, I'm not sure what else we can share, right? But you've got to let it extend and don't just simply go, hey, I'm just going to put a limit order out there to go short at 670. Not quite how it works. It could really put a hand around your throat, as it were, in market terms. So you want to let it get up and then reject, and then you chase it in. You might go, well, how do I wait for that? Well, that's the art of the game. You could put a limit order out here and just say, hey, if it nicks 671, I'm going to get out. If it continues down, I'm in great shape. And if it, sometimes it nicks, pulls back, and then collapses, you might have to trade it 2 or 3 times in this area. So what you have to do is manage relative risk at each exposure event. All right? Sideways action, folks. 63 is up to flat. I don't know what this one is, 14, 21, something like that. You know, it's a little bit sideways. So noisy patches, folks, noisy. Bullish momentum, dips or buys. Dips or buys. Okay? Take care, and I'll see you on the streams.